All right, sorry about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at the periodization essay, which, if you want to know the basics for it, if the compare and contrast essay and the CCOT essay had a baby, it would be the periodization essay. And here's why. The periodization essay is going to give you a time period. It's going to be a single date. That single date will be what you are going to be basing your essay off of. And what they are asking you to do is describe the ways in which the historical development specified in the prompt was different from and similar to the developments that preceded and or followed. What that means is they're going to give you a time period, and you need to say what was similar between the before and after. What was different between the before and after? What that essentially means is what continues and what stays the same. Not only do you have to describe it, you have to then, and here's where it gets tricky, explain the extent to which the historical development specified in the prompt was similar from and different to. Does that make sense, or do you have a question on this? Okay, so here we go. If you go back to the NEO resources and you click on the periodization outline, I have again given you this entire outline to use as a resource for you. You can see I gave you a thesis sentence frame. While blank either continued or changed in blank, it, and this is important in their periodization essay, mostly continued or changed in blank because of whatever circa the time period. You need to have that qualifying statement there. That is what makes it a periodization essay. Does that make sense? In addition, when you do your analysis statement, I'm giving you this sentence frame, which really helps to provide the extent to which it's a major turning point or not. If it is a continuity, you'll say the time period after the blah, 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 is either somewhat or very similar to the time period before because. Use those words, somewhat or very. So say it's somewhat similar or it's very similar. Does that make sense? And the same thing goes for your I should say change afterwards. Cool?
Cool.
So let's practice. Go! Take 5 minutes. Come up with a thesis statement. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Got it? In another 2 minutes. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what do we got? What do we got here? What is our wonderful change in our continuity? Because here's the deal. When I look at this prompt, here's how I break it down. Because you always want to do that. Number one, you know it's a periodization essay because it says analyze the extent. Anytime they ask you to analyze the extent, that's going to be periodization. So the second thing you want to know is, well, first of all, what are we looking at? Okay, European imperial control marked a major turning point for South Asia circa 1857. What happened in 1857 that would mark a major turning point? Tiffany? Yeah, the Sepoy Mutiny. The Indian Rebellion. For those of you in my class, that's Mangal Pandi. Anyway, so, good. So Mongol Pandi is what causes that major, that separation. So I think automatically a major change is the direct control of the British government. This is when Queen Victoria becomes the Empress of India. This is when the British send a viceroy. Before, it was the British East India Company who largely had indirect control over India. I mean, it was somewhat direct, but it was largely indirect. Yeah. So that's a major change. A major continuity, or not a major continuity, a continuity. What do we got? Nate. Yep. Conflict between Hindus. Oh, we can always just say religious conflict. Yeah, cultural traditions. I would say you continue to see the British you still have the British creating laws against traditional culture. And you can largely say, in this period of time, you're going to see India going from control of the British East India Company to control the British government directly. So is that a major turning point or a minor turning point? I would say it's probably minor. And I gave you this question kind of on purpose so that you had an example of when it wasn't really a turning point. Does that make sense? So your thesis to this would be something along the lines of, European, or actually you would say, while South Asia changed in coming under direct control of the British government, it mostly stayed the same in religious conflict. It's not necessarily European imperial control. So why don't we say in the British creating laws that interfere with local customs. Does that make sense? Oh, and then I'd have to say circa 1857 CE. Good thesis? Let's see if we can do another one. You may go if you'd like to. I will do one more for whoever wants to. I appreciate your time, so if you need to go, go ahead and go.